Wait a minute, y'all.
Comment, like, and share, and comment. Comment, like, and share, and
Your
comment.
boy done switched up on you.
Comment, like, and share, and comment. Comment, like, and share, and comment. Comment, like,
A
and
lying to
share,
me.
and comment.
And I know you lying.
Comment, like, and share, and comment.
Period.
Wait a minute, y'all. You guys, look, if this is your very first time to this channel, run on there and subscribe for us. And after you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell beside the word subscribe so that you will be notified each and every time that we upload a video. And then welcome to this great family. Now that you're part of us, there's some things that we do. And we do them every day because they help us grow. Those things are comment, like, share, and go for the team. Comment, like, share, and go for the team. Comment, like, share, and don't forget to comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share. Don't forget to comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share. Don't forget to comment, like, and share. Okay, guys, check this out. We're going to pray. We're going to get into the goodness. Here we go. Hey, man, how y'all doing today? The pink salt, baby. You guys, over here to the side. Just Ben is here today. Just Ben came to see you. He has nothing in him but NICOLE H2O. But let's see if he's nice refreshing. He is. Also, over here to the side, I got my lips hot sauce. If you like your bottle, look where top screen section blue. Hit that link, and right there you get your lips hot sauce and your lips merch. Okay, you guys, today for the food, baby, we have got us some Kentucky Fried Chicken. We got that coleslaw, which Kentucky Fried Chicken has some of the best coleslaw in the world, and we have their potatoes and gravy. We got a few peppers around here. I got a jalapeno back here at the back. And here we have some chicken wings for Wang Wednesday. Welcome to Wang Wednesday. So we've got 10 of them. These here are original chicken wings, but I have had them fried in an open fryer, but dipped in the original batter. That's how you have to order them if you want them like this. You go in the restaurant or in the drive-thru and tell them that you want original battered wings, but you want them cooked in the open fryer. That's what I have right here. They're so delicious. Okay, you guys, let's get to eating. Let's go. Let's get us some salt and some pepper in our mashed taters here. This is pink salt, y'all. So leave me alone. I'll put a little dab of salt and pepper over here on the slaw as well. Okay. All right. I love their KFC has some of the best coleslaw and mashed potatoes and gravy that you can find. They really do. That chicken wing. These here a little small today, but I know a lot of y'all, that's what y'all like, small wing. Okay, y'all. I've got to get right into the story. As I told y'all, I've been talking about a few days. Today, we have a Black History moment that, for me, you know, everybody have their own opinions about what has happened in history and Black history and what moment means the most to them. Obviously, all of them were important because they all, you know, got us to where we are today. But we're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about a man named Josiah Henson, okay? And I'm going to tell you why this is so important here in just a minute. Y'all love my chicken going in my gravy and stuff from KFC. On March 20th, 1952, there was a lady named Harriet Beecher Stowe who wrote a book called Uncle Tom's Cabin. Remember me telling you that over the years, because of the widespread smear campaign of the United States, we even today, as African American people, use the term Uncle Tom to be a, y'all, this food good, derogatory term toward other African Americans. Basically saying to be an Uncle Tom is a bootlicker, somebody brown noses, derogatory. But the story was not really written that way. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you there's something, and the reason why I'm trying to let you know this because I need for you to let your children know this, and it's gonna be information to a lot of you all. This book called Uncle Tom's Cabin was so important. You know, everybody knows about the Martin Luther Kings. They know about the Malcolm X's. They know about the Nelson Mandela and da-da-da-da and this and the third. You go on Rosa Parks, you go on down the list, you know about all of them. Everybody that know anything about, you know, Black history, they always know about these people. But I'm going to tell you something. This man that I'm about to talk to you about today, to me, even though a lot of people don't know about him, to me is by far the most influential person in Black history. His life did more for the advancement of Black people than any person known to man. To me. And you might say, well, Lips, I thought that was Thomas Douglas. I thought that was this person and that person. But let me give you my opinion. Go back and get on task. I'm going to try to keep all this in chronological order. Josiah Henson was born June the 15th, 1789. He was born in a place called Charles County, Maryland. Okay? Mother slave, father slave. Father was owned by a slave owner by the last name of Newman. The mother was owned by a slave owner by the last name McPherson, okay? Two slaves, two different plantations came together and had children. Right? Josiah Henson was the youngest of all these children. Okay? When Josiah Henson was about 3 years old, his father, a overseer on a plantation, took his mother and raped her. Which is nothing uncommon in them days. They did what they wanted to do. They were slaves, they were known as property. That's what happened. His father, however, from her screaming, ran through a field, saw what the overseer was doing to his wife, you know, dropped them bees on him, roughed him up. That characterizes is that he beat him in the dirt. Done him pretty bad. After the wife pled for him to, you know, to stop, he finally did stop and he ran away. They quickly caught him. After they quickly caught him, they brought him back. All of the slaves from neighboring plantations were all brought to this property. And he was whipped. As the story goes, he was lashed by a local blacksmith 50 times. You know, Then they checked his pulse to make sure he was still alive or that he was going to survive, lasting 50 more times. Okay? After that, Josiah Henson at this time was only 3 years old. But this is his first memory in life. After that, the father was sold. Okay? When the father was sold, because Mr. McPherson that owned his mother was not this type of slaveholder. He didn't beat his slaves and stuff like that. He would no longer loan or rent Josiah Henson's mother out to the Mr. Newman that had done this cruel act to his father. Moving along, keep the story going. Around the time that Josiah Henson was 9 years old, 9 years old, Mr. McPherson dies. When he dies, true to form in these days, Mr. McPherson heirs deplete and sell off all his property, which included his slaves, which included, excuse me y'all, I'm sorry, I'm trying to go fast because there's a lot to cover. We sold off all his slaves, which meant that Josiah Henson and his family were all sold to different places. All his sisters and brothers, his mama, no, he was the last to be sold. Where he was sold to a man that his way of making money off of slaves was to buy them while they were really young, before they hit puberty. Feed them, give them chores around the house for a few years. Once they come into their adolescence, now he can sell them as prime stock. That was what he done. So he bought Josiah away from his mother when he was 9 for $30. Okay? Now, because he was another barbaric slave owner, he didn't care nothing about his slave. Took Josiah, who was already sickly, threw him in a slave holding pen with another, let's say 30, 40 other slaves who was so overworked, so drained, underfed, really just waiting to die, that nobody cared for the young man. Nobody cared for the little boy. Okay? So, he got sick, almost died. Okay, well, with that being said, I almost died, y'all. With that being said, now that he's away from his mom, now the man that bought him sold him back to the man that bought his mom for a bucket of horseshoes. That's just how much that they devalued a human soul at that time. He was sold back to the man that bought his mother for a bucket of horseshoes, y'all. You talking about being taught and learned, or being a learned thing that you mean nothing to nobody? Anyway, moving along. Josiah had great pride in himself. Great pride in himself. And everything that he done, even as a slave, he done these things to the best of his ability. He turned out to be the best worker that this man ever had. So much that he was so earnest that he called this particular man's, which his name was Isaac Riley. Okay? He called Isaac Riley's overseer stealing from him, and he reported it to Isaac Riley. And Isaac Riley fired the man. Well, Josiah, proving his honesty by this, because he could have been killed for telling on this overseer, you know what I mean? But because of his honesty and he was such a hard worker, he was the best worker on the plantation, Isaac Riley made him the overseer over the other slaves. Now, this, well, you may think, well, you know, but he took this very seriously, and he was very proud of it. And he used him being the overseer to make sure that the slaves were fed properly, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And they could, you know, their output would be better if they were fed right, you know, that type of thing. Worked out great. His accomplishments were so great that he was trusted to be going back and forth, what you would call like a marketer. He would take the produce and the things that were, the commodities that were made from the plantation, miles and miles and miles away from the plantation on his own, to market, to sell them. Now, he couldn't read, couldn't write, but he was determined enough to know what he was doing with those products to be able to go there and do this efficiently. Okay? Now, to make a pause in the story, a quick detour. The reason why this man is so important is because his life was the basis of this lady, Harriet Beecher Stowe, to write this book in 1952, 12 years before the Civil War, called Uncle Tom's Cabin. President Lincoln, which we all know was a president that freed the slaves. You know, Emancipation Proclamation, We all know that. We ain't gotta go through that. He has accredited this book because when she wrote this book, her father was her family was a real prominent family. I think they were Presbyterian ministers and stuff like that. Real prominent family in society. So that kind of gave her license or notoriety to what she said would be true. So her white audience, she wrote this book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, as a depiction of how inhumane, you know, humans can be toward other humans. President Lincoln has accredited her for her book to be the thing, because the book, when she wrote it, it spread like wildfire. I think they said in the first week, it sold like 10,000 copies. Within the first year, it had sold over 1 million copies. And at that time, it was the best-selling book that had, you know, one step behind the Bible. That's how fast it went. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, President Lincoln has said that it was her book that stirred up all the commotion and got people thinking about what was really happening in America or around the world in slavery, that it is what caused the Civil War in the United States of America. Now you see why he's so important. What I'm going to tell you. This man's life inspired this lady so much to write this book. That is what the conversation that started to go on because of this book of how people were being treated is what sparked and made the United States go into the Civil War, which is what freed the slaves and started the ball rolling. Now back to where we were. When he was going to market, he was so good at what he done, and what happened is because the man trusted him so much and he was valuable, he done what he said, his word was good, he was hardworking, he was an overseer. Well, one of his jobs at that time was the plantation owner would go into town on the weekend and drink, get, you know, wasted. Well, one of his jobs, because they would often fight and stuff in these taverns and stuff back then, one of his jobs was when this happened, first and foremost, if nothing happened, you get him home safe because he's intoxicated. But if not, they often fought. So one of his jobs was to make sure if there was a fight, was to get in there and get his plantation owner out safe and to the house. Now, that meant, because if he was in there arguing, excuse me y'all, I saw it, but we hit it forward. Well, his job would have to be, baby, he finna fall off this, look, Gucci, get down. Anyway, one of his jobs would be to go in there and kind of, if he had to, rough up the other white men in order to get his slave owner or his plantation owner back home safely. Okay? One of these times when he did this, it was one of the neighboring plantation owners to where Isaac Riley was. About a week went by, he was out doing some of his chores as an overseer, and this particular man that he had roughed up saw him, and he had 3 black men with him. He made Josiah get off the horse. Josiah comes down. They beat him. Josiah's holding his own. Like they ain't just, because, he's young. You know what I'm saying? He's doing his due, holding his own, but then the jealous or the mad, angry neighboring slave owner, plantation owner, he grabs a fence, like a post out of a fence, and start beating him. Broke his right arm. Once they got him down, he took the fence post and beat him so bad he broke both his collarbones, rushed him up real bad. Okay? The horse runs home without Josiah. When the horse runs home without Josiah, knows something's wrong, they go and find him. He's out of work like half a year. Can't do his duties. Okay? When he does start back to do his duties, he simply has a mule that he's trying to plow a field, and the friction from that breaks his collarbone again. He's out again. Okay? So, time goes by. His plantation owner gets into debt. He's facing financial ruin. So what he does is, he goes to Josiah that he knows he can depend on. He knows all this time he's been in Washington, D.C., all this time that he's been in the neighboring area. He's never run off. He had plenty of time to, because he was in the place where there were free blacks, people that were against slavery. They could have just very well put him on a boat and shipped him out. But he never left. He was always loyal. So he trusted him. And since he was in debt, what they were going to do, to solve his debt, they were going to come in and they were going to take his slaves and sell them off to clear his debt. So, trying to run from that, what the slave owner done, Isaac Riley, he entrusted Josiah to take himself, his wife, and 18 other slaves 700 miles from Maryland to Kentucky. Okay? Now, along this route to Kentucky, they had to go through Ohio, which was a free state. Cincinnati, specifically, they had a large, free black population that would help them. So when he gets there, that's when he finds out, and the people start telling him, why are you taking these people that are enslaved? You have 20 lives in your hand. The only person that's back there on that plantation is your mom. But you have 20 lives in your hand right now, one being your wife. And you're taking them through a free state where they could just let them go. They'll all be free, you'll be free, your wife be free. Well, he didn't do that. He was a man of his word. He was a man of his word. So he went ahead and took the 18 slaves, his wife and himself, and went to Isaac Riley's brother, which was named Amos Riley, that had the biggest plantation in that county where they were going. He delivered them there, done like he was supposed to do it. Well, because Isaac had told Amos that he was such a good person and that he had these overseer qualities, he quickly became the overseer of Amos Riley's plantation. More responsibility, more wide range of what he would do. You know, that kind of stuff. Well, because he did so good, Amos Riley allowed him to become a minister. He allowed him to become a minister, and it was in the Methodist Church network, okay? Well, he quickly became good at it because he took pride in everything he did. Move, Gucci! Come on, boy! Baby! Come get him, please. He all up under my feet, y'all. He want to hear the story, too. So anyway, y'all, it was in the Methodist church system. So he goes back, and from in this church system, from these people, knowing how good he was, they put the idea in his head. You know, you can make money from preaching. Why don't you try to buy your freedom? So he goes to the brother Amos, and he asks the brother Amos's permission to leave Kentucky, go back to Maryland to try to barter for his freedom from the original owner who still owned him, Isaac. He gives him the permission not only to go there, give him a pass with a seal on it, not only to go to Maryland, but to have free passage back to Kentucky because they trusted him. They fully trusted this man. Okay? So what he does is on his pathways of going from Kentucky back to Maryland, he preaches at all of these places down through there. And by the time he gets back to Maryland to negotiate for his freedom, he's made something like $275, close to $300. Well, Isaac Riley and him came to an agreement that he could buy his freedom for $450. That's what he had to pay to be free. Remember now, he can't read or write. So he goes, he sells his horse, he sells his clothes, and he comes back and he has $350. So between him, Isaac Riley, and Josiah Henson, they write a promissory note for the remaining $100 to say, okay, as long as you give me this $100, once you get this $100, you be free. But what Isaac Riley did was instead of putting $100 on the promissory note, he puts $1,000. He adds a zero on it. So now Josiah Henson makes his way back to his wife back in Kentucky, thinking he done paid $350 on his freedom. He got one more $100 to go. He's going to be free. But when he gets there, he realizes because the wife has overheard the brother Amos Riley say that his buy price was $1,000, and he realizes that they have tricked him. Because he couldn't read or write, instead of putting $100 on the paper, he put $1,000, which meant that he was not going to be free. He was not going to be able to buy his freedom. Okay? So with that being said, he knows he's been tricked, this, that, and the third. He goes on to do what he got to do. Now, at this point, when he gets back, then word comes from back home where Isaac Riley is, and Isaac Riley tells his brother Amos, sell off all my slaves because I'm in financial ruin now. The only thing that I don't want you to do is do not sell Josiah and his family, okay? Do not sell Josiah and his family. Now, Josiah and his wife have 4 children between the ages of 12 and 2, okay? But they're not going to be sold, okay? Now, when he went back down there to, when he got back down there to try to barter for his freedom, he also found out that his mother had passed. She had died while he was gone. So now he has no more ties down there. So now that he's back here in Kentucky, the overseer, once this news comes and he sells off everybody, all his property except for his family, right? All right? So what happens is he tells Isaiah, okay, now, because you're so good with the produce, I'm going to send my son, Amos Jr., I'm going to send him to New Orleans to sell off the produce and stuff, the goods from the land that we've made throughout the crops and stuff like that, and I want you to go with him. Well, somewhere along the lines on the way down through there, Isaiah realizes, I said, yeah. Is that right? No, I'm sorry. I'm saying Isaiah. That's the property owner. Josiah realizes that, hold on a minute. When I get here, he's selling off all these goods and all this, and my owner's in financial ruin. When I get there, I'm probably going to be sold too. So he realized that before he get there. So on his way there, remember I told you in this book that she depicted him saving a little girl during this trip to New Orleans. Now this is where it comes from. When they got to New Orleans, Amos Jr. was going to sell him. But what happened was, while they were there, Amos Jr. got sick, fell deadly sick with malaria. Okay? So what happens now, he needs Josiah to take care of him because he can't get back home. He's got malaria. So Josiah was going to kill him because he realized he was finna go into slavery. Josiah was going to kill him with an axe while he was sleeping on the way there. But now, going a little forward, they go to market, they sell the produce. Now he's next. Okay? They go to fatten him up, feeding him good, putting dye in his hair, da-da-da, this and the third to make him look more attractive, put him on new clothes. He's finna sell him. He goes to Amos Jr., he begs him not to sell him, and Amos Jr. just not going, he ain't going with him. Although he understood, he had compassion for him, he knew Josiah, but he was still gonna do what he told him to do. Fast forward a little bit. Okay, so what happens is he falls sick with malaria, okay? Now, when he falls sick with malaria, during this time while he's there in New Orleans, which was the biggest slave trade in America at this time, what he does is he gets Amos Jr. to give him a pass, and he goes to see some of the friends that he himself had taken from Maryland to Kentucky. Now they're in the deep South, Louisiana, Mississippi, those type, and he goes to see them. And he sees the harsh conditions that were far different from the ones that he was in, or where the barley and grain and stuff was being, the sugar cane and stuff like that was being produced mostly, to the cotton fields, to this type of place like this here. And it was dreadful. And he felt this great weight of, wow, this is what I delivered. The people that I grew up with, the people that I overseen, this is what I delivered. He saw the harsh truth of what happened in the deep South. So anyway, he goes back, and now back on task, Amos Jr. has malaria. So what he does is he puts him back on the boat, he treks him back up the river, all the way back to Kentucky to his father. And when he gets there, he realizes that, okay, now I done something good. Now I get my freedom. I over $100. You can talk to your brother, get me out of this mess, da-da-da-da. He's looking for his, I did good. I saved your son. Your son would have died without me. But that's not what happened. Amos Riley decided that because he had done so, that meant he had compassion for white people. So that meant he could be sold for even more. Well, it's at that point that Josiah Henson decided, just can't go. He went to his wife and told his wife, we got to get out of here. We have got to get out of here. We got to. Push come to shove. The wife didn't want to go. He had to plead with her to go. He basically told her, whether you go or not, I'm going to take the children and I'm going to leave. So what she does is she finally agrees. She makes a backpack for him. Because he's got to carry the 3-year-old and the 2-year-old. The 10 and 12, they can walk and run. But the 3-year-old and the 2-year-old, they're not going to be able to do that. So she makes him a backpack so he can put the children in, so he can carry them on his back. Now, keep in mind now, both his collarbones have been broken. So he practices this for 2 weeks. Because of his job that he has to do anyway, he's away from the farm, extended amount of time. He decided he was going to leave on a Saturday. Sunday was a holiday, so they would be looking for him Saturday or Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, he was going to be away from the farm anyway, like far away anyway, so they wouldn't be looking for him Monday or Tuesday. So this is going to give him at least a 4-day head start, and they take out. They take out toward Canada, is what they do. Throughout this and that, they went through a few troubles here and there, hid in the bushes, went through thickets, this and that. He ended up on a port in Cincinnati. He works a little bit to get a little money, and he finally tells the captain of the boat there in Cincinnati what's going on. They tell him they're going to take him and his wife to Canada, okay? So that's what they ended up doing. They went and got his wife and his children, and they ended up transporting him to Canada, okay? Now, this is the thing. Once he got there, his work wasn't done. His work was still not done, y'all. He went back into the United States dozens of times, endangering his own life, and helped free 118 slaves. 118 slaves. When he got to Canada, in Ontario, Canada, he helped build a 500-person free person community there. So when people did get out of America to freedom, they had somewhere to go. This man, his life story, he won the first, what was it called? Let me see. He won the first, the first medal. He won a medal at the first World Fair in London. Okay? He, what else did he do? The Prime Minister of England threw him a surprise party. This man was, throughout his life and what he done, his story really touched a lot of people. Queen Victoria invited him to the Windsor Council. And finally, Rutherford B. Hayes did entertain him at the White House eventually before he died. This man lived from It was June the 15th, 1789 to May the 5th, 1883. But it's controversial with that part because some people say he died in 1879. But officially, they have that he is June 15th, 1789 through May the 5th, 1883. Okay, this was a great man. And the reason why I wanted to tell y'all that he's the most influential African-American to me, because this man and his story, his life and what he went through and how dedicated he was in such a, the person that he was he was the catalyst for Harriet Beecher to write this book called Uncle Tom's Cabin. And when she wrote it in 1852, 13 years before the finalization of the Emancipation Proclamation that freed the slaves and da-da-da-da-da. This book is what started people in the North and the South to talk. That started them to, one side felt this way and one side felt this way. And it was inhumane what they was doing all along. So this is what started the Civil War that actually gave black people in America who got them out of slavery. Y'all, like I said, there's a movie on Prime Videos and Freebie called Redeeming Uncle Tom. And maybe I didn't do it all chronologically, and maybe I didn't get it all to you like you need to know, but it's so exciting. It's called Redeeming Uncle Tom. If you go and watch that movie, most of what I just said, you'll hear it. You'll see it. You'll see chronologically how it went throughout Josiah Henson's life. Yeah, this was an incredible man. This is an incredible man, and I can't do nothing but say thank you. I can't do nothing but understand that the freedoms and the liberties I have today, even though it may have been someone later on, it may have been, but we can't do anything but understand that this was the grandfather of us all having the liberties and the freedoms that we have today. It was his life that inspired this lady to write this book, Harriet Beecher Stowe, that inspired her to write this book, y'all, that started the Civil War. Now, if that ain't some black history for you, I don't know what is. His name was Josiah Henson. Look him up, dig into it, and understand how important this man was to not only black history, but American history. This man's life turned the tides and changed the way that the entire nation does things. Now, don't get me wrong, I never take nothing away from Martin Luther King, but he didn't do that. You see what I'm saying? Martin Luther King, they're all great men, and they done great things for us. They really, really did. But this man, Josiah Henson, this man was the actual one that his life, his integrity, his being of who he was the very one that sparked the debate for the Civil War to ever even be fought. Hey, thank you, Father. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's our Black History lesson for today, y'all. I'm so glad to have brought it to you. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. I really, really do, because I know there's at least a few of you out there that had never even heard anything about Josiah Henson. He's the reason why you're looking at me today, the way that you are, with your own freedoms and liberties, and you never even heard his name. These are the type of people in Black history that I want to bring to you. These are the type of people in Black history whose names have been forgotten throughout history because they weren't flashy like this one or flashy like that one. You know, they was way back yonder and but these are the people. These are the strength and the resilience and the faithfulness of these type people that allowed us to be free. I love you guys so much. I truly do, and I'm finna get up out of here, okay? I love you guys so much. So my new legion. Thank you guys so much for being here. We truly appreciate each and every one of you because you didn't have to be here. You could have chose to be anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be right here with us, and we love you for it. So our existing legion. Round and round we go, round and round we go. I love you guys so much, and I'm gonna see you guys next time, okay? Wait a minute, y'all. You guys look. Always remember that there's always more than one way home. All you still have to do is get there. So get there, people. Get there. I love you all. And I'm going to see you guys next time. And if you're not to watch me next time, you have lied to me. And I know you lie. Period. Bye. Bye. Woo. Anyway, y'all. I am so happy that you guys were here to hear this. As you can see, it gets me so excited because, like I said, I'm sure that many of you all never even heard of the name Josiah Henson. I'm sure many of you all had never even heard of his name. And he is the true godfather of why we're free today. He really is. He is the true reason why we're here today. Also, with that same reflection, I wanted to shed light on that. There are, because like I told you guys before, we as African Americans, we as black people, we have certain prejudices and have had them over life, just as other people have as well. Can you imagine if it wasn't for the love of God that this white lady wrote this book? Can you imagine how much longer our ancestors would have been in bondage? Can you imagine? If she hadn't cared enough, if God hadn't pricked her soul enough to care enough about how inhumane people were being treated, how much longer our people could have been into bondage. Y'all, black history is an amazing thing to dig into. It's an amazing thing to dig into. Make sure that your children understand it when they learn from other children that Uncle Tom is a bad thing, that Uncle Tom is a person that is a brown noser. Uncle Tom is a person that is known to be weak, feeble-minded. That's not where Uncle Tom really came. That's not where Uncle Tom came from. Uncle Tom was a proud man. He was a man that learned how to maneuver two different worlds and be successful in both. He was a man that had conviction, that had pride in what he done. He was a man that his word meant something. If he said it, he meant it. He was a man that not only got his own self and his own family to safety, came back dozens of times to collect others. He put himself on the line. He put his own freedom that he had worked so many years and worked so hard to gain. He put his own freedom on the line to come back and make others be free. I love Josiah Henson for all that he done for our race, for all that he done for Americans, period. Okay? So, I'm picking up out of here. I love you guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Bye-bye. Don't forget, the movie is on Prime or Freebie, and it's called Redeeming Uncle Tom. Go check it out. Go check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about, okay? I love you guys so much. I truly do. Bye-bye. Mwah.
I don't like to share.